Hello, it's Belinda. Today I'm going to be sharing a process video for this layout I created documenting my son's first Christmas, and I put this together for the Scrap the Boys December challenge. And there is a little bit of a twist because at the same time I also decided that I would scrap lift myself to also tell the story of my daughter's first Christmas. So in this process video, I'm going to walk you through the process for creating my son's layout, and then at the end I've got some close-up photos of the almost identical layout that I created for my daughter. So you're going to see me backing the cut file here. I have left this in just so that I can talk through my inspiration for doing this a little bit. I'm using some glitter cardstock to back the stars in the cut file, and then I've cut out the letters using my silhouette. I am using, I think, pretty much exclusively the Kaisercraft Peppermint Kisses collection, which was released this year in 2019, and I adore it. And I've also supplemented it with a few bits and pieces from my stash. So recently I enrolled and took a class that was offered by Teresa Moxley of Like and Design, and it was all about scrapping your children or getting your children's stories documented and how overwhelming that can be and how to stay on top of it and stay up to date. So one of the things that she suggested in her class, which I thought was very simple, but it's something that I'd never really thought of doing before, is to repeat your layouts, to scrap lift yourself and use one design or one layout or one collection, one thing, and repeat it for more than one child. So when I knew I was going to tell this story of my son's first Christmas, I thought, why not just make things a little bit easier for myself and use the exact same design with the same collection, the same layout, and just create something for my daughter's first Christmas as well. So that's exactly what I did, and I think it turned out super well, and I'm really happy that I got them both done so quickly. That was 2 layouts done and ready to go in their albums. So this cut file that you're seeing me back right now is actually the one that's going to go on my daughter's layout. My son's going to have that softer grey poker, or the grey coloured dot pattern that's on the right of the screen. That's that completed cut file backed there, and I'll pop those away. This is the little stash of supplies that I've got for my son's layout. So I'm taking the textured, or the what was left of the white textured cardstock after I'd cut the Christmas words out, and I've trimmed the branding strip off that. And then I've got this really gorgeous green wood grain patterned paper, which I'm going to use as the backing for my son's layout. I am going to mat it onto that white cardstock, so I'm trimming it down just a little bit. Then I'm going to adhere it down onto the white backing, and I'm going to take it away over to my sewing machine and run some stitching around the edge. And then I'm just using my fingernails and my fingertips to run along the outside edge of that patterned paper and just really rough it up. This is something that I've been doing a fair bit of lately. I just really love the way that looks. I love that really distressed, I guess maybe a little bit grungy. I just love the texture that it adds, and it's super simple and super effective. So now I'm going to get stuck into backing this photo. I'm going to trim it down a little bit. My son was born on the 18th of December in 2017. So he was a brand new Christmas baby, and he was just so cute in his little Christmas outfit. I'm first of all matting that photo onto some of that white textured cardstock. This was one of the failed cut pieces from my silhouette, so I put it aside and knew that it would be good for backing a cut file, or backing a photo, I should say. Initially I thought I was going to put the title on the right and the photo on the left, but you will see that I end up switching that up later. So all of these pattern papers that you're seeing here have come from the Kaisercraft Peppermint Kisses collection. I got the full 12 by 12 paper pack, as well as the 6 by, I think it's a 6.5 by 6.5 little paper pad, and it's just perfect. So I'm first of all going to use this dark green, which has got a little foliage pattern down in the bottom right, and I've kept some of that sticking out on the bottom there just for a little bit of added interest. Then I'm going to bring in some of that red and white candy stripe. And I do make this off center a little bit. I'm really not good at non-linear, non-straight layering. So if you have watched any of my previous videos, you'll probably notice that although I layer my papers so that they're sort of off center a little bit, I don't tilt them at all. I do like them to be nice and straight and ordered. I should probably try and push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit there, because I see people doing it and I always think it looks really great. I just can never really bring myself to do it on my layouts, but I should try. So that was a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock that I had cut down for a different project, and I just trimmed a bit of that off, and I'm going to use that to fill in some of the layering on the right hand side of that photo. So you'll see that the layers are all kind of mixed up, but they're still very straight edged. And I apologize that this is slightly out of frame here. I didn't realize when I was filming that I was working a little bit further down than I was. Now I've grabbed out some gold foil photo corners, which I think came from a Heidi Swap pack, and I'm just going to add those in to the two opposing corners of the photo there. When I switch the title and the photo around, one of those photo corners does end up getting mostly covered up, but it still peeks out a little bit, and I'm okay with that. When I go and redo this for my daughter's layout, I actually end up putting both of the photo corners on the top of the photo so you can see both of them. And although the pattern of that paper I didn't really like it, it was perfect for layering. It just gave a nice bit of interest. So I was going to and ah about my placement and fiddle around with, do I want it to go on the left or do I want it to go on the right? But I decided to just go with it and to just stick it down. So my photo is just going to go flat onto the background, and that die cut piece, or the backed cut file, I have mounted on some foam, which is, it's a roll of foam tape, and it is awful. I bought it quite cheaply and it's really, really not nice. It gets sticky and breaks apart, and I need to get it something different. But I have a lot of it, so I'm just trying to use it up and deal with it. So I've adhered that Christmas down onto the layout, and I'm just going to grab some greaseproof paper here while I figure out what I'm going to put down for the top of that title. I've grabbed out these glitter foam alphabet stickers from Felicity Jane, and I'm going to be spelling out the words "Your First," because the title of this layout is going to be Your First Christmas. So I fuss around with those. I don't know why I spent so long fussing around getting them down onto the greaseproof paper, only to then put them straight up above the word Christmas. But, you know, sometimes we just do these things. So that's it. I'm really happy with those. The gold glitter works really well with the glitter that's in the center of those stars. It was a really nice match. And using my ruler just to make sure I've got them centered. And sorry about my head. And that's it. Now I'm going to go and stick those down. It was quite handy having the lines of the background paper there. It gave me a good guide to make sure that they were straight, that the letters were straight as I was sticking them down. And that's my title done. So I'm happy with the way that it's looking. I will start to bring in some of the embellishments here. So I had grabbed some wood veneer out of my stash, some wood veneer pieces, and then I've just put some gold glitter embossing powder, heat embossed powder on all of those to make them match the layout. So I'm just going to have a look around and see where I'm going to place things, and then I decide that I want to add some splatters to that background. So I'm going to go and grab the newest things in my stash, which are these Liquitex acrylic inks. I've seen a few people use them, and I grabbed some when they were on sale at Spotlight, and I'm really, really happy with them. So I'm going to go in with the white first, and what I love about this white Liquitex ink is that it is very opaque. So when I've used white spray mist, it doesn't show through on any kind of colored background papers, or it doesn't show up very well. But this Liquitex ink is really, really good. And the gold is a nice shimmery gold, and it doesn't leave an oily residue behind like I have found the Heidi Swap Color Shine does. So I think this is going to be my go-to gold now rather than the Color Shine from Heidi Swap, and this is definitely going to be my go-to white for splattering. And I'm just using a really fine paintbrush that I have to do those splatters, and then I'm going in with that paintbrush to add a few bigger drops of the gold where I wanted them. So that's all done. I've gone and typed up my journaling. I actually typed this up on the computer, I think, or I can't remember. I might have done it on the computer, I might have done it on the typewriter. Some nice long strips of journaling, and I've trimmed those down, added some adhesive tape to the back, and then I'm going to go and stick those centered underneath the title and the photo. And it's just telling the story of, I used quite similar language when I was writing the journaling for my son's layout and for my daughter's layout, and it's just how excited we were to have them with us for Christmas. With Jack, it was exciting because a newborn baby at Christmas, oh, just so nice. And with Violet, it was exciting because it was our first Christmas together as a family. And I think with both of them, I've ended the journaling by saying that although you may not remember your first Christmas, we definitely will. So that journaling's all stuck down now, and I'm going to get into these embellishments. I've grabbed a couple of offcuts of some paper. So that little holly was from the branding strip, I believe. And I've cut down some of that red and white candy stripe paper into a little banner. So I want to use that cute arrow, but it's not standing out on top of the patterned paper. So I have taken that away, and I've adhered it to some white cardstock just to give it a backing, which you can see now just to the left of my layout. So I'm going to have one little cluster up in the top left-hand corner. And again, I was tempted to keep fussing and fiddling with it, but I just decided to get stuck into sticking it down and committing to it and making it work. I've also got, you can see a couple of little die cut presents. One of the pattern papers that came in the Peppermint Kisses collection was a whole page of presents, wrapped presents. So I sat down one afternoon and I fussy cut all of those out, and I have a nice little collection of those fussy cut presents, and they're a really cute addition. There's some greens and reds and pinks and blacks, and yeah, perfectly complement the pattern papers. So that's my cluster up to the top left done, and now I'm just creating a little cluster to the right of my photo. This large Santa was in the ephemera pack that came with the collection, and a couple of those fussy cut presents. So I've popped Santa, the right hand side of Santa, up on just some really thin foam because the photo has got a little bit of dimension because of the amount of paper layers backing on it. And then I'm going to create a third little cluster here just to the left of my cut file Christmas title. That little holly also came from the ephemera pack, the little pieces of holly. I'm deciding where I want to put that second piece, if I want to put it anywhere at all. And just tucking those in behind the cut file. And because the holly is going to be sitting partially on the cut file, the Christmas cut file, and partially on the backing, I've popped some of that same low profile foam tape behind it just to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Trimming that down a bit. Sorry that my head keeps popping in there. And ready to stick that down in the corner. But I realized I actually didn't need the foam tape on the two of the leaves. I only needed it on the one that was coming off. So these gold wood veneer stars were from my stash. I think they came from Studio Calico many years ago. I've got a lot of them and I use them quite frequently in December projects, predominantly December daily. But like I said, I went and added some embossing ink and some gold glitter embossing powder to those just to bring in a bit more of the glitter. And I'm using some of that liquid adhesive to stick those wood veneer pieces down just to make sure that they stay nice and firmly. There's my little bowl of presents that I fussy cut. So I think the finishing touch for this is going to be another poinsettia flower there, which came from the ephemera pack, and I'm going to trim that in half and pop one of them on the cluster to the left and one inside the cluster to the right. And that will complete this layout for my son's first Christmas. As I said, there are some close-up photos of this layout, as well as some close-up photos of the almost identical layout that I created for my daughter's first Christmas page. I hope you have enjoyed watching. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love for your support in doing that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.